As a candidate or charter holder, you have to be really careful about what exactly you say that the CFA program is. You can't say that it makes you the best or the smartest or the most qualified, and you certainly can't say that it allows you to guarantee superior returns. What's up, good people? My name is AJ and you are watching Straight Talks, and today we're going to be talking about exactly what the CFA charter is for those people who may not be as familiar, how long it takes, how much it costs to accomplish, all those types of things, then why people pursue it, how it benefits people in their career, and why I decided to pursue it about 5 years ago. What the CFA Institute says that we can say the CFA charter is one of the highest distinctions in the investment management profession, in which you learn the skills and knowledge to thrive in the competitive investing industry. They go on to say that the CFA charter gives you expertise and real-world skills in investment analysis, ethics, and professionalism, very true, and that it's a 3-part exam that tests the fundamentals of investment tools, valuing assets, portfolio management, and wealth planning. I would probably argue the first and fourth point there. CFA charter holders are qualified to work in senior and executive positions in the investment management, risk management, asset management, and more. Certainly true, but it does sound a little bit odd to me that the Institute mentions senior and executive positions in that line, because there are many non-senior or non-executive positions in which the CFA charter is highly beneficial for. In more general terms, this is an academic program that other publications have called the gold standard in finance. It covers the information you need to become a academically proven investor. I've said it in other videos, but I think the CFA program is probably the second or third most difficult academic programs in the world, and certainly the most difficult in the finance industry. Most CFA charter holders took about 4 years to earn the charter. There are 3 tests to become a CFA charter holder. You can usually do 1 per year, although in the more recent testing schedule, they're allowing you to take them at a higher frequency, so this 3-year testing window could get shorter in the future. But the fact remains that you have to have 4 years of investment-related work experience before the Institute will actually let you use the CFA letters behind your name. So even if you were to run through the exams really quickly, which is an extremely difficult thing to do, you're not going to be a CFA charter holder until you have the 4 years of experience. The main topics within the finance industry that the CFA exams cover are ethics, quantitative methods, which is statistics, corporate finance, economics, fixed income valuation, equity valuation, which is bonds and stocks, alternatives, derivatives, portfolio management. How many was that? That was 9. I forgot financial reporting and analysis, which is basically accounting, corporate accounting, not personal tax accounting, but corporate accounting, and is maybe the most significant topic across all 3 exams, so I'm surprised I forgot that one. People who pass the exams generally studied for, usually quoted as 300 hours for each exam. I always recommend to anyone that I'm talking with to study for more than that, and sometimes far more than that, to pass each of these exams, because they are so challenging, but also because the breadth of information that you have to be really quick on is huge. Another reason why the CFA program is such an extremely grueling process is because most people undertake it while they are working in a full-time, and in finance, full-time often means more than full-time job. I talked about this a little bit recently in my CFA versus MBA video, but basically you have a lot of people working 50, 60 hours a week, and in cases of like banking, they could be working 80 hours a week where they're getting home at midnight, and then they have to study from midnight till 3 a.m. or something, which is an absolutely crazy schedule. I don't think too many people do this while they're working as a new investment banker, but some people have. You'll be working 10 hours a day and then get home in the evening and have to study from 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. Or if you do like the 5 a.m. shift, study from 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. Either one is extremely difficult on your schedule, and of course mentally taxing when it's a very difficult content as well. That's just part of what makes the CFA program so hard, but also why those 3 letters hold so much weight in the finance industry. I think most candidates will incur the costs of the CFA program in basically 3 different parts. The sign-up cost, which is a few $100 to like declare your intent that you're going to want to take the exams in the future. The registration cost for each exam that you register for, depending on how far in advance of that exam you register, it's going to be anywhere from, I think, $800 to $1,200 US. And then potentially study material if you choose to use a third-party test prep provider. You don't have to do this because the CFA Institute will give you their curriculum on an ebook, and then you can pay $150 to get a physical book. At least that's what it cost when I was doing the exams. And sometimes I did that. I think in 2 of the years I did that. But I also paid for a third-party test prep provider. I used Wiley, and I think I was paying $800 per year for their silver course. So I think the average candidate would probably spend somewhere between $5,000 and $6,000 US over the course of their CFA exam test taking experience, assuming they failed one or two of them and didn't zip right through them, and of course pay less money because they didn't have to re-register for any exams. The big variable here though is for employers paying for candidates who work for them to sign up and register for the exams, and they pay for the, in some cases, test prep material as well. So you could pay, like I was lucky enough to pay $0 out of pocket for the entire program. That's why a lot of people recommend not starting the CFA until you have an employer who may be interested in you getting that charter, and so they would help pay for it, if not completely pay for it. It's not super helpful to start it in undergrad. I think you can take level 1 and maybe level 2 during undergrad and college, but even if you pass level 3 in your first year on the job, you wouldn't have the 4 years of required work experience to have the charter anyway, so you'd have to sit dormant for 3 years just working. I don't think it would be a great use of time. But that's another point. It's just advantageous to wait until you're actually working to take the exams in the case that your employer might pay for your registration and study material. I'm using the terms like charter and designations, and it is just that. This is not a degree. It's not offered by a college or university. It's offered by the CFA Institute, which is a globally recognized research institution. They started in the 1960s, I believe, in the United States, and have really given themselves the reputation of being the most rigorous academic institution in terms of offering financial professionals a designation to carry after their name, because there are tons, like maybe 100 different random designations someone could earn in the finance industry. But the CFA program has kind of put themselves on top. I drew a little bit of pause from one of the things I read at the beginning of this video in what the CFA Institute provides as a description for the CFA charter, which said that it provides candidates and charter holders with the basic fundamentals of investment decision making. Fundamental investing tools was the phrase they used. It provides them with the fundamental investing tools. That doesn't really, to me, sound like a very good description of the exams. Some of the very basic things that it'll cover are dividend discount models, so just come up with a future potential price of a stock in a really quick little division problem, or like basic economic formulas like, supply demand, a little bit of that. I would consider fundamental investing tools to be more things like order entry, bid ask, investment prices, order execution. To me seems more fundamental, like actually making investments. Maybe I'm off on that. And the CFA exams do cover a little bit of that material now that I'm thinking about it, but it's certainly not a primary focus of the program. So I would just scratch that little description from what the Institute offers right now. That's just me. If you're thinking, should I be taking the CFA exam, or who is the CFA exam right for? I have plenty of other content on those exact topics that I've done in the past. If you watch those, or if you have specific questions for me about your scenario, please feel free to ask me those questions down below. I just want to reference those prior videos in case anyone's wondering, oh, when will something like that come out in the future? Well, it's already out. To actually go take the exams, you finish your 6 to 9 month study period, whatever that is. It's different for a lot of people. And then there are probably 200, 300 different testing locations around the globe. My closest one was about a 2-hour drive from where I live. You just head there on a Saturday morning. Traditionally, it was always the first Saturday in June. And then in 2015 or 2016, the Institute changed that to like a middle Saturday in June to be more respectful of some religious holidays that were going on in the first part of June. But then with the more recent testing changes, it's now like in a 2-week window all the time throughout the year during certain periods, but throughout the year. Then you go in and sit down in a giant room, lecture hall, or I've also heard of stories where the Institute will rent out event venues or maybe even an airline hangar. I don't know, giant areas where there's thousands, in some cases, of other candidates sitting around you taking the same exam, everyone hoping to pass it. A month or 2 months later, they send you results and say, hey, you passed level 1 or you passed level 2 or level 3. Once you pass each level, you can then in the following year take the next level in the hopes of passing all 3 and then finishing your 4 years of work experience to become a CFA charter holder.